Hello, everybody. My name is Carly Hamilton. I am currently a senior at Brimmer, and I have been at Brimmer since fourth grade, so quite a while. Some things I'm involved in at the school, obviously I'm a student tour guide, which I love doing. I am part of the Model United Nations Club. I am editor-in-chief of our student news site, The Gator, this year, and I'm also a co-captain of our curling team, so I'm involved in a lot of different fun things. Today I'm going to take you on an upper school tour of campus, and I hope you enjoy. Let's get started. Okay, so here we go. I will first be showing you the main academic building, and then I will show you the art barn. Here we go. So this is the main entrance to our school. Now it looks a little bit different, but on a normal basis, students are able to walk right through these doors. And here we come to our dining commons. So I want to talk about lunch at school briefly. So we have a very wonderful dining commons space. All of the upper school students, without the social distancing protocols, can fit in this space. So hopefully we're able to do that again soon. The kitchen staff are so wonderful. There's always a hot lunch option. And as you can see over here, there's a sandwich bar, a salad bar, and a yogurt bar. So again, on a normal basis, we have those options available. However, one thing that is consistent is we always have vegan, vegetarian, and gluten-free options for people who follow those dietary restrictions, and there are always healthy options. We always have a lot of fruit going on, so the food is really wonderful. They do a wonderful job preparing it. And very few people actually bring their lunch from home. Those that do, it's mainly they have allergies, extending beyond what the kitchen keeps out. So again, we have no shellfish, no peanuts. The main allergens are not involved in our cooking. This space, aside from being where we usually eat, is a wonderful space for students to spend time in their free period, study halls, group work before school, all the time really. Especially over here in the corner, you'll see we have these nice bench seatings with the tables. So that's a great place to collaborate if you're working on a group project. So that is our dining commons. And the really cool thing about this space is actually back over here, the dining commons continues. And we have this other called the upper commons, and there's actually doors that close off the space, and we can have club meetings, teachers have meetings there, you can eat up there, really whatever. So it's a very multifunctional space, and I think that that really shows a lot about our school. We're always doing something different and interesting. It also has a whiteboard, so again, if a meeting is going on, the whiteboard can be utilized. So now we will head upstairs. Whoops. And as we make our way up, here we go. The first thing that we see is the media lab. So I love this green wall. It actually acts as a green screen. And the two main classes that utilize that wall are journalism and digital cinema, which I will get into in a few minutes. You'll also see these Kindness Matters stickers throughout the school. Hold on a minute and I'll have a quick tidbit about that. So I love this space. This is our innovation space. And so much goes on in here, truly. There is always something interesting happening. There's always some collaboration going on. So first I want to talk about the different setups we have here. So we have the high top tables, which is where most classes meet. Problem solving is a main class that meets in this space, which Ms. Lee, our Director of Innovation and Design, teaches. Ms. Lee does so much within this space. You'll see we have a disco ball hanging from the ceiling. We have over here, it's actually a piece of bubble wrap that we hung up, and people were injecting paint into the bubbles to create designs, which is really cool. We have a mobile, some tape art, and all this stuff is community projects. So Ms. Lee leaves out instructions and tells the school, this is what our community project is now. And students from all grade levels, faculty members, even visitors can take part in the crafts going on in this space. And it's really cool to see them grow as a community. And I think it really shows how collaborative the space is, how innovative we are. And it's always a fun way to relax. So if you just had a stressful test and then have a free period, One of my favorite ways to de-stress is always by taking part in one of those activities. You'll also see we have these comfy chairs, the low seating. Those are great for if you're just relaxing, maybe doing some English annotations. So students love that space. We also have the high tables. Those are my favorite if I'm studying. I think it's really great. And it's also, you can spend some time with your friends but still be working. So those are some of my favorite spaces. The other really cool thing we have in this space is study rooms. So these are soundproof study rooms equipped with AirPlay displays, which are very great if you are practicing for a presentation. So this allows students to present their PowerPoint as they would in class, and it's a great way for them to do it together ahead of time, especially because we have this wonderful space where nobody else hears you. And I also love, it's a great way to get some natural light during the day. Or I know a lot of times people will spend time in here with some of their friends when they're all studying for a test and they just need some quiet. The other really cool thing that happens in these study rooms is we have actually podcasting equipment. So this is a great quiet place to record. So again, so much cool stuff going on in this space. And this is utilized by the whole school. Dr. Gallen, who is mainly a middle school science teacher, has streamed tables in this space. Innovation hour happens up here for the middle schoolers. But there are a lot of upper school electives that take place in this space, which as a STEAM candidate myself, I spend a lot of time up here. I will talk about STEAM more in a second. There's one more thing I want to touch on while we're here, which is the Make Me a Maker projects. So again, Ms. Lee, the Director of Innovation and Design, is so good about creating different projects that everybody can take part in. One of the main ways that she's done that is through this Make Me a Maker project. And so you can see there's 3 different levels of difficulty, and they've done all sorts of different projects. I think they've made boxes, earrings, all sorts of different things. And this is using all the equipment in the Makerspace, which we'll enter next. And for a lot of upper schoolers, using the Makerspace requires being in an elective class that uses the space. But with this project, it doesn't have to be that way. So while I might be taking problem solving, or right now I'm taking STEAM Lab, it doesn't mean that somebody who's not in one of those classes can't be utilizing the space. And that doesn't mean that I can't learn something new from the project. So I think that really opens the space up for everybody and makes it more accessible. So I think that that is a really cool opportunity we have. So through the glass, you'll see all the stickers we made, and you will also see the STEAM Lab and all of our equipment. So we will enter there next. Okay. So this is our STEAM Lab Makerspace. So much goes on in here. This is where all of our 3D printers, vinyl cutters, laser cutters, we have a CNC router. We have so much cool equipment in here. So Mr. Hardman runs our STEAM Diploma program, and we actually have 3 signature programs. I'll talk about all 3 of them, but right now I'm going to focus on the STEAM program. So the STEAM program is centered mainly around math, science, and technology. So myself, I love math, I love science, and I love technology, so it was the perfect fit for me. I've been at Brimmer so long that I've seen all the upper schoolers do their presentations on their diploma programs. And I've known since middle school I wanted to be a part of this in high school. So for me, it made sense. Diploma programs don't make sense for everybody. You don't have to be in one. But for me, knowing I want to pursue math and science, STEAM is the right place for me. The really cool thing about the diploma program is you're taking classes with people who have similar interests. So one of the requirements is taking STEAM Lab in your senior year. And so all of the kids who were in the STEAM program in my grade were in STEAM Lab together. And we're working on individual projects, but bouncing ideas off of each other and collaborating using the space. So I think that that's really cool. The other thing that's a big part of the program is you do an internship. And so I did my STEAM internship at a research lab at a hospital, which was something I was so excited to do. It was a little bit scary. It was my first real working experience, but I spent 6 weeks in a research lab, and I learned so much about how research labs work, what it means to be in a research lab, like so much. But mainly I learned about collaboration. And so I think that was a really big takeaway, and I would not have done that without the STEAM program. So for me, that's been my favorite part of the program. Again, this space is full of so much. So while I might be in the STEAM program and utilizing this space a lot, everybody else can too. It is not only open to people in the program. Everybody uses the space. But for me, STEAM was the way to go. So the other thing I'd like to mention while we're over here is we actually have a robotics club. So we have lots of robotics equipment over here. And over through the window is Mr. Hardman's classroom and office, which again, just very science-oriented classes occur in there. So that's the STEAM program. And as I mentioned before, I am editor-in-chief of The Gator, our student newspaper. So we're going to enter the media lab. So this is where all of the journalism takes place. Our class is held in here so that we can utilize the green screen. And how we use that is we have a news broadcast. And so our anchors will sit at the chairs, and then we have some really cool features we can add because of the green screen. So that's how journalism utilizes this space. The other thing I do want to say about journalism is I'm a very science-oriented person. I'm in the STEAM program, but I've also been able to focus on journalism and my writing. And so I think that shows a lot about the diversity of interests students have. You're not limited to one thing. I have run cross country and been on the curling team. I've been a part of Model UN. I'm still a part of the STEAM diploma program, a part of journalism. Nothing holds you back. Everything is an addition. And the school does everything they can to facilitate an environment where students do have the option to participate in as many things as possible. So I'm very grateful for that. The other class that takes place in here is digital cinema. So there's varying levels of that based on how well you know Final Cut Pro. But digital cinema is a class that focuses on filming and writing scripts. So students write a script and then they film their own little movie. And they've also done video essays. So we actually have a laptop part in here equipped with Final Cut Pro, so nobody has to purchase that. It's all on the school computers. And then they can use the green screen as well to add cool backgrounds to their shots, make it seem more realistic. That is not a class I've taken myself, but I love watching the videos that they make. And I know a lot of people who have really enjoyed that. So this is the media lab. Again, so much cool stuff going on. And one of my other favorite features of this space is both the makerspace and the media lab have these large garage doors that can actually lift up so we can make it an open space when we need a little bit of extra room or have people on campus. There's one other thing I love to point out in this space. So you'll see stickers all around the school, which are made by either Mr. Hardman's made some, I know Miss Lee's made some, and students is the main one. So over here, you'll see this person, and it looks like they are pulling up a piece of the wall, and you see a bridge. So the student who made this was in graphic art, actually. And I think it's really cool because she was able to implement something, her vision, into the school. And so you see art all over the place of different forms, but I really like this one. Little secret, the person pulling up the wall is actually me. So that always makes me smile. I remember helping her with that project. But it's so cool to see people's visions come to life. I love that part. Which brings me to our next area, the problem-solving wall. So this is one of my favorite places to see what people are working on. So this entire wall is covered with student projects from problem solving through design. So Miss Lee teaches that class, and it's a very entrepreneurial type class where she gives you a problem and you have to solve it. And so some of the problems have been create a multifunctional piece of furniture, create something with a modular design. And if you take problem solving too, then it's exactly like Shark Tank, where you come up with a problem, you find a product to solve it, and then you pitch it to the sharks on campus. So one of my favorite things is over here, there is a poster for something called a pour table. So it's a table, a desk for students, right? So it's a table, but the cool thing is you can remove the desk part, flip it upside down, and it becomes a slide. So I think that's just really cool. Again, multifunctional piece of furniture. And for some young students, that might be the way they want to go. You know, a study break, you can't always go to the playground, but if you have a slide in your room, nobody can stop you from that. So I love this wall. It's always cool to see people's work displayed and what everybody's working on. Another element I love about our school is this outdoor classroom. So this is one of my favorite spots to be when it's the last warm day in fall or it's the first warm day in the spring. Teachers will sometimes take class outside here. If I have a free period or study hall, then I enjoy spending my time here and just getting some fresh air. Most of the core classes are located in this building, so sometimes there are days where I don't leave the building until I go home. But getting my little bit of fresh air here or coming outside when I finished my lunch is always a great way to make sure I'm getting outside. So I love this space. And over here, this is the Solarium. Again, on the left, you'll see more student artwork. That's actually from a ceramics class over here. And as we make it to the Solarium, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. So this space is very multifunctional. Meetings happen up here, student meetings, faculty meetings, advisor meetings. Sometimes people need a quiet place to study during lunch. This is the place to be. And tutoring also happens here. So we do have tutors that are connected to our campus, but we also have a really great peer tutoring program. So for example, I take Mandarin, that's my foreign language, and we have 14% of our upper school students are international students. A lot of them actually come from China. So if I am struggling with my Mandarin homework, some of those students are peer tutors, and I can contact them and ask if we can meet during a common period. And then they can help me work through my homework or practice having a conversation. So there's peer tutors in all different subjects. If you want somebody to read over an English paper, you need help with languages, you're stuck on a math question. In fact, we even have peer tutors for AP Computer Science and for some of our computer-aided design-centered courses, such as architecture. So lots of cool things. I love interacting with other students in that way. So that's one of my favorite things. And over here, again, you see more art on the wall. That takes us to our theater. So our theater, normal times, this is where our morning meetings are held. All of the middle and upper school students can fit in here. This is where all of our plays and musicals take place. In upper school, we have a fall play, a winter musical, and my favorite is the spring student-directed play. So this is really a wonderful space. Here, I want to touch on the Creative Arts Diploma program, the CAP program, as we call it. So this is the second of our signature programs, and the people who are involved in CAP are those who are interested in the arts. So anything ranging from performing arts to studio art to photography. The CAP program covers all of that. They have a really cool seminar that they do. They have volunteered and interacted with a local school, the Sumner School, and they've worked with some of the young students there talking about art and other cool things. So I know that program is really enjoyed by the people in it. They also go on a lot of cool field trips. They go to see shows, all sorts of different things. So the CAP program, again, it works for some people, it doesn't work for all. The signature programs are completely optional, but I know lots of people in CAP really enjoy it. So this is the theater. The other really cool thing and great way to be involved in the theater is that we have this wonderful stage that often has sets on it when we have different shows. So participating in a class such as stagecraft or production, I actually took stagecraft one year. You get to help build the sets and run the lights or the sound for the shows. So myself, I am not the most talented singer. I do not enjoy being the center of attention on stage, but I really wanted to learn how to build things. So I joined Stagecraft. I had a lot of fun learning how to use all of the equipment and being a part of the production. And then when the show week came, I was still a part of the cast in a little backroads way. So of course I did not perform, but I really enjoyed getting to be a part of that group of people and participating by contributing in a way that I knew how to from afar. So again, different things for different people, but lots of cool things happening. So again, students can run lights, sound, they can be backstage for the shows, whatever works for them. But our productions are really great. Lots of people take part in them, both on stage and backstage. So that is our theater. And with that, we will head down the stairs. One of the other things I love is on stairs like this, there's all of the art awards that people have won. So it's always cool to see what people have worked on, both this year and in the past. I myself, again, am more of a math and science person, but I love seeing what other people can do. It always amazes me because it's not my strong point. So it's so cool to see other people whose talents do lie in the arts. I am so in awe of them, and I love getting to see that. This is a very important space for me as a senior this year. Through this door lies our college counseling suite. Miss Ream and Miss Summergrad are our college counselors. They are wonderful. I can honestly say there has not been a moment that I have worried I won't get into college or I won't turn something in on time. They're there every step of the way. They're coordinating admissions counselors coming to talk at Brimmer, even virtually this year. So they are so wonderful. I've been so excited to work with them. So that's college counseling. We actually do have a college counseling class that starts second semester of junior year. So that's when we talk about testing plans and start the process of thinking about college, which I found really helpful to kind of have that on my mind a little bit early. And I felt really prepared when this fall came along. So that's college counseling. Over here, we have a classroom. This is actually where my Mandarin class used to meet. And so it's a very nice room. We have lots of natural light. And so it's always nice having a class up here. As we make it this way, we enter our math hallway. Ms. Handegla teaches geometry for ninth graders, and then she teaches AP calculus. So I'm actually in AP calculus with her this year. I love Ms. Handegla. I love all of my teachers. But she particularly, I was so scared starting geometry. I was like, oh, it's my first real high school math class. And I was really worried about it. And she is so kind, so thoughtful, and made the adjustment go so smoothly. So she has definitely been one of the highlights of my high school years. I love Miss Handegla. And now we will head down. So we are approaching the science floor and the humanities floor, where I will talk about our last diploma program. So over here, so I mentioned Dr. Gallen before. He's mainly a middle school science teacher, and this is his classroom. But there's one really cool thing he does in upper school. Well, lots of cool things he does, but a main one in upper school. He's actually an archaeologist and has been on digs, I believe, even in Thailand, which is so cool. So he teaches an archaeology science class for upper school students, which I actually took as a semester elective in my ninth grade year. And I wish I could take it for a full year now, because now it's a longer course. But that was so cool. I loved getting to learn about the things he had done and really hear that firsthand experience of how archaeology plays a role in the world. And so I think it's so unique to be able to learn about something like that from somebody who's actually experienced it. So that was definitely a highlight for me. And we have so many wonderful teachers in all different subjects. I just particularly enjoyed that one. I was surprised we had a class about it. Over here is our senior study space, which again, a little different this year, but one of my favorite things about this space is the big chalkboard wall at the back. I think this really shows the senior class from last year. And I love that the students get to decorate it and make it their own a little bit. You definitely see their personalities come through. So that's a really nice space. Over here, we have a science classroom. So this is where a lot of lab sciences take place. In upper school, I took chemistry in there, neuropsychology last year. So again, just another classroom. And this is the middle school's periodic table wall. I love this because, again, I get to see what students in different parts of the school are doing, even if I'm not involved in the classes on a daily basis. So it's always fun to see what's going on. And down here, we have the science office. So if you ever have a question for a science teacher and they're not in their classroom, this is probably where they'll be. And we can pop in here. This is another science classroom. Yes, there is a human body on the table. That model, I think, is used for our anatomy and physiology course. We have lots of cool science electives. I mentioned archaeology, anatomy. We have neuropsychology. We've had oceanography, astronomy. We've had all sorts of cool courses. So we really do have a lot to offer. So as we head down this hallway, there's two main things I'd like to talk about here. So the first one is the Global Studies program. So the Global Studies program is the third signature program, and this one is focused on a wide variety of things. So some people, their focus is language, and so they take 2 languages. Other people are interested in political science. Some people enjoy the economics courses, really everything. And these students take a couple of different global studies classes, and they learn a lot about global perspectives, which again, those classes are open to anybody within the upper school. But I know I've heard so much about the lasting impact the global studies program has on students. They participate in a wide variety of activities. A lot of them are involved in the Model United Nations Club, which I mentioned I'm a part of as well. That for me has been a great experience to meet people from all over the world and to learn a lot more about how the United Nations works. So that's really cool. Ms. Neely, who runs the program, also runs a program called Winterim, which is such a cool and unique experience. So in a normal world, when traveling is completely safe, we have traveled every 2 years to so many different countries. We've had trips to China, Japan, Vietnam, France, Italy, Belize. We've had trips go to the Grand Canyon. Honestly, anywhere you can imagine, we've had Winterim trips go, and those experiences are really great for students to implement what they've learned into the classroom in a more unique setting. So I know the trips to England have sometimes gone to the Globe Theatre, and we've read Shakespeare many years. So I think it's really cool to see that knowledge come to life. My 10th grade year, I actually went to Croatia, which was so cool. And we learned about the architecture in 9th grade, and so getting to see all of that firsthand was just a wonderful experience. So Winterim is so special. I think it also, because it's between all 4 high school grades, you meet a lot of new people. You get to experience life with them. That's something I'll remember forever. So that is Global Studies in Winterim. The other thing I do want to mention here is the way English classes work. So 9th and 10th grade, you take 9th and 10th grade English with different focuses. But as you get to 11th and 12th grade, we do something really cool. In 11th grade, you can choose to take AP English and Language and Composition, which is a wonderful course. I actually took it last year. It definitely improved my writing abilities, so I'm glad I took that. And then for 12th grade, you can choose to take AP English Literature. So again, a wonderful course. Both have great teachers. But the cool thing is, if you decide, AP English isn't the thing for me, we have 4 electives that run every year, and they are open to 11th and 12th graders. So they're mixed grade classes. And they are so unique. I tend to think of it as almost a college type course where the focuses are more of a genre. So this year, I'm actually taking something called The Terrifying Other, and we're focusing on the role of race and gender in horror fiction. I know there's also a class called The Destiny of Place. We have an African American literature course, and we have more of a philosophy type course called Asking the Big Questions. So those electives vary from year to year and are open to both 11th and 12th graders. And I think it's so cool that you get to have classes with some different people, and you get to experience a different type of class. So I love that program. So now we'll head down the hallway. So this is our Pappas Lab, which has all of our desktop computers for student use. We have a bunch of classes happen in here, the main one being Tech 9. Students that take Tech 9 learn all sorts of different useful skills, one of the main ones being how to use the Microsoft suite. So when I went to do my internship in the research lab, one of the main things we were using was Excel. And sometimes those are things you don't necessarily learn in school. You just pick up along the way of life. And Tech 9 is that opportunity for students to learn how to use Word and PowerPoint versus Pages and Keynote. And so I think that's really important that we have that knowledge as we continue growing and embarking on a variety of adventures. I think the Microsoft suite is incredibly important to know how to use, and I'm so glad the school helped me figure that out. We also have a one-to-one iPad program where all students have an iPad. Some elect to use laptops as well in high school, but both work. We use Canvas, our learning management system, to keep track of all of our assignments, files digitally, and right now that's been especially important. It's where we get all of our Zoom links for classes when we are at home. So the technology department is wonderful. They're so prompt with having a response. I had a question the other day, heard back within 20 minutes of my email. So that's really great. We have a wonderful technology program. As we head down this hall, again, you'll see some art. I love to see what people are doing. And probably my favorite room on this floor is our dark room. So we have photo classes, but before taking digital photography, students learn how to use film cameras, which I think is so cool to learn the original process of what's happening. And just, it's so interesting. I know people love that, and I love seeing the developed photos. So the darkroom is really cool. Again, just another art option. Some people, studio art is not their thing. For me, drawing and painting are not my strong suits. So I took a graphic art class, I took a sculpture class, and those were much better suited for me and my strong points. But for people who, that's, photo is what they're good at, and that's what they want to be doing, or they just really want to learn more about how to frame shots. I know it's a wonderful class Mr. Kiley teaches. So that is photo. And on that note, we're going to head around. As we move, I'm going to talk about the advisory program. So the advisory program, all upper school students have an advisor, and each advisor has, I would call it around 7 or 8 advisees. That number varies a bit. But once a week, students meet in a group with the rest of the students in their advisory. And that's just a way to start the day. Their advisor will talk about any announcements that might be needed to have that week. Just talk about how their days are going. And in addition to that, students meet with their advisor once a week. And for me, I have loved that advisory program. It always gives me somebody to go to if I'm having a rough day, or if I need help with something and I don't know who to ask. My advisor is always a good person to touch base with. And advisors really do so much for you. They can help you figure out what classes to take. If you had trouble with an English paper and you want to talk it through with somebody, they're a good touch point. So that program has been really great. And I think since it's between all 4 grades in the upper school, it's also a good way to meet different people who might have done different things than you. So for example, I've had students in my advisory older than me give me advice on, oh, I think you'd really enjoy this class, or oh, you're struggling with this, here's how I dealt with it. And so the advisory program is really great. So as you can see, we've now reached the Learning Commons. So Ms. Dolan is our librarian. She, I don't know how she does it. She has so many different resources, is always so helpful, and always has new insight for what you're looking for. So of course we have the physical books here, but we also have so many online resources that Ms. Dolan can help us find. And she's great at helping you find research papers, books for those. She's also great at helping find books to read for fun. And the library also always has a cool puzzle or drawing activity going on. So it's a very calm, collaborative space, which I love. You can also see we have these alien-looking things. They are hydroponic gardens. Our middle schoolers do an experiment where they learn about how plants grow with different variables put into play. And so they grow all sorts of different vegetables, herbs. We've had kale, basil, all sorts of different things. And the kitchen actually uses those plants when they have grown, which I love. I love to see things being implemented like that. There's 2 other big resources that live here. The Math Lab and the Writing Center. So Mr. Schwartz is in the Math Lab, and he often sits right at this table. This room over here with the whiteboards is also a great place to work on math questions. So Mr. Schwartz, again, any level of math, he's always happy to help. Whether it's you have a question about your geometry homework, or, oh no, I have an algebra quiz tomorrow and I just want a little bit of extra help studying. So that's the Math Lab. The Writing Center, there are teachers from all of the humanities classes that have different hours during the week that they spend in the Writing Center, which I love because I can always get more feedback on my writing. And it also means that I can get it from different people. So I might not necessarily connect with my teacher, which is often a great resource because then I get 2 different perspectives. And so for me, that helps me flesh out my thoughts more. We also have printers in here. We have desktops where students can print at. We also have a laptop cart in this space. So if students need to borrow one of those, that's also available. So now over here, this is another outdoor classroom type place. This is the Courtyard, which as you can see has a number of other tables, umbrellas, setups. So if you have a class down here or you're in the library and decide, I'm gonna go read my book outside, it's a great place to be. So now we will finish heading this way. These tables up here are also a great place to meet with tutors, the writing center, a quiet place to work. It's often very quiet in this hallway. So this room right here is an important one. This is for me where my 9th grade English class was held. Mr. Murray teaches that. It is such a wonderful class. I think for me it was a great transition to high school English because he makes it very approachable for students. So talking about parkour videos and getting to watch those and how that relates to some of the impulsive decisions teenagers might make. He's really good at making situations relevant to us. And so I really enjoyed that. I think that class was really engaging. The other thing that happens in this space is our clubs and activities. So I mentioned Model UN is one that I'm involved in. We also have a very popular quiz bowl club that does all sorts of trivia questions. We've had a stock market club, a doodle art club, a board game club, a chess club, like all sorts of different things, anything you can think of, a comic book club. So sometimes they utilize this space as well. So this space here, this is the Learning Center, and that's the where the middle school writing center, math lab, they have all sorts of teachers in there as well. That's where that's located. Sometimes upper school students utilize the space as well. And as we head down this hallway, these are more middle school classrooms and upper school language classrooms. I do also want to point out this board. This is the middle school board, but they have some great pictures of their camp trip at the beginning of the year, which upper schoolers also go on. So in the first week of school, students come back for a couple of days, and then we go to a camp on Camp Wingate, Kirkland. And the seniors go for 2 nights, and the 9th, 10th, and 11th graders go for a couple of days as well. And so that is a really great experience. We've done all sorts of cool activities. We went mini golfing. We've gone stand-up paddle boarding, so many cool different things that you get to do. And I think, again, that's a great bonding experience going into high school, even though I've been here before. There's so many new people that come in. And so it's a great way to get to know new students. It's a great way to meet the people in your grade. And it's also a good way to get to know your teachers because they're involved in that as well. And students in other grades. So again, a very collaborative, community-oriented experience. It's fun for everybody. So as we keep going down this hallway, again, you'll see some more classrooms, and we make it down to here. So this board over here is our languages board. So we have French, Spanish, and Mandarin that are offered. All of the teachers are wonderful. I myself have taken Mandarin for 8 years now, quite a while, but the teachers are really wonderful, very interactive. And I mentioned the winter trips before. A great way to implement your knowledge of the language you've been learning is traveling to a country that speaks that language on a trip. So I mentioned I went to Croatia, but I know some people in Mandarin went on the China trip, and that was a great way for them to use those language skills in a real world setting, which I think is just so cool. So I'm so grateful that we have the experience of learning a language. Here's another classroom. And I think it's really wonderful, and I am excited to use those skills in the world. As we leave the classroom, there's one more big space I'd like to show you in this building, and that is the music room. So for students who are in Green Line or upper school chorus, this is where they rehearse. So we really, every time I walk by this room, there's a wonderful sound emanating from it. We also do have voice lessons and instrument lessons for students who are interested in pursuing that. But yes, this is where all of the magic happens. So with that, we've finished in this building, and I would like to show you the art barn as well. So we will enter the art barn. The art barn, I think, is a really cool space, solely focused on the art that happens in this place. So over here, you'll see we have lots of art and awards, again, put up, which I love. I love seeing what people do. And as we move this way, we enter the main studio. So classes like drawing, painting, I mentioned I took sculpture. We spent a lot of time in here. You'll see all of the art drying over here, hanging up on the wall. And middle school classes happen in here as well. Mr. Ridge teaches a lot of art classes. Miss Lee teaches some as well. So they really are wonderful. So that is the main studio. Again, so cool, a little creepy sometimes, but always fun to see what people are working on in those classes. This is my favorite part of the art barn. Down here, we have a pottery studio. So you'll see we have wheels for wheel throwing. And so we offer ceramics and sculpture on every other year. And in ceramics, they learn how to use the wheels for wheel throwing and making pots and bowls and all sorts of things like that, as well as shaping figures and things with their hands. So I love that. I think it's a very unique experience. We also do have a kiln hidden behind these doors, so all of the pots can be fired and glazed and taken home directly from school. So that class is always a huge hit. A ton of my friends have taken it, and it's just a really fun class. What better way to de-stress than by taking a class where you get to play with clay? So that's the main studio and the ceramic studio. And now we will head upstairs. So the upstairs studio is utilized mainly by students in AP Studio Art, purely for convenience mainly. They have to leave a lot of their work out because they're spending so much time on it. And so they spend a lot of time up here. We also have some computers in this space. So if graphic design is involved, these desktop computers are equipped with Photoshop, Illustrator, and those things, so students can utilize that as well. So you'll see, again, just another studio. We have a cool setup from AP Studio Art. They were sketching the things in the setup. And the other thing I would like to mention while we're over here is the train. So this is the Green Line D branch, which is right next to campus, about a minute walk from our gym. You make it to the Green Line. So I live in Newton. It's super easy for me to hop on the train in the morning and get to school, which I love. My parents love because it means they don't have to take me, and it's so convenient. So I know a lot of our students who live in Newton, Brookline, Boston, or live along a bus line they take the public transportation. I know it's so convenient to have it that close to school, which I love. So with that, we have completed our virtual tour. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something new about the school today.